Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, The Healing Heart. I'm Calgan, you're you, and let's go through this together. Today I have an email from one of my viewers that was asking me the question about can you really heal from a breakup until you find a new partner? When is it okay to start dating? Personally, I feel like I'm cheating and I hate that I still hold myself back when he so clearly doesn't. Well, I think to answer the first part of the question is that you can heal from a breakup before you find someone else. And in a lot of ways, that's probably the best way to go about it. There's the saying, to get over someone, get under someone else. And that may work for some people, especially if you weren't that attached in the relationship and you've come out of it and you're feeling okay, and but the thing is, when people are experiencing pain and things like that, because as humans we are wired to try to avoid pain, we usually start doing all sorts of things to distract ourselves from feeling that pain. A lot of times it's alcohol or drugs or shopping, overworking, traveling, all sorts of things. And one of those things obviously involves sleeping around with other people. Sorry, it's so hot. It's so hot and sweaty here at the moment. So the answer is that you can heal after a breakup before being with someone else. And like I said, I think in a lot of ways that's probably the best way to go about it, especially that way when you do meet someone else, it's going to be more authentic, it's going to be more organic, and hopefully you won't be sort of going into that relationship comparing the new person to the old one, which what will happen if you go into it too soon. After, especially if you've been the one who's been left, you'll find yourself, well, actually it probably works both ways, but you'll find if it's too soon, you might go on a date or a couple of dates with somebody and find yourself comparing that person to the old one, especially if the relationship starts to go on a bit and little things will start to come up and you'll start to think, oh, my ex-partner never did this, or my ex-partner wasn't like that. And that's probably not a good way to start a new relationship. I think also it's probably important and good to take the time to heal the wounds in yourself, take time to reflect on the relationship, your part in it as well, because obviously when someone breaks up with us, we have a propensity to point the finger and blame the other person. Well, it was all their fault and they did this and they did that. But it's a really good time to be able to look at it and say, okay, well, what are some things that I did in that relationship that possibly didn't help? What are some things that I can learn from this? What are some things that I would like to do differently in the next relationship? So again, it's probably a better way to let the wound heal a bit as well. How long that takes is going to depend on how deep the wounding goes and a lot of things inside you that it's possibly triggered. The other part of the question is, she says, when is it okay to start dating? Personally, I feel like I'm cheating. So if you're going on dates and you feel like you're cheating on your ex-partner, even though they've left and they probably might be with someone else, and that, if you feel like you're cheating, then it's probably too early to be dating around. I do know that if someone leaves you for someone else or gets into another relationship rather quickly, you start to feel that you want to do the same thing. Because when you've been with someone, let's say for a length of time, 6 months even, or some years, there's going to be a big void left in your life after having that person there, around you all the time. You bond with that person, you do things together. When they're no longer there, there's definitely a void that's left there. And if they've gone with someone else, then you're going to be feeling that void even more. And then you'll probably think, well, I'm going to try and get with someone else as well. But the thing is, that goes back to what I was saying before, you're better off to try to fill that void with yourself and your own life, your own things. You know, if you've got a job, try to keep your job going, because if you lose your income, that's only going to make things worse. If you can get away for a while on a holiday, or if you can go somewhere for a while, that might help. Um, Once again, it's so hot. So I wouldn't look to jump straight into something else straight away, regardless if your ex-partner's with someone else or not. The other thing to keep in mind is that perhaps they've gone into another relationship, okay? And all relationships will have stages, starting with basically the honeymoon stage, where you've met someone new and it's all exciting and there's the infatuation and all of that sort of thing. And when you're hurting and you get to see that, or you get to hear about that, that's going to hurt. But what you need to realize is that that relationship is going to go through the stages that all relationships go through. So for your ex-partner and the other person, perhaps they'll have a honeymoon period, 3 months, possibly 6 months, and then the relationship's just going to become the usual thing. Perhaps it will last. A lot of people, talk about rebound relationships, and look, rebounds can work. I think rebound is just a term that was given to a relationship that starts fairly soon after the end of the last one. So rebound is just the label for that. Most of the time, those type of relationships will not work, because the other person, I think, is just trying to distract themselves from what they've just been through themselves. And so the chances of the rebound relationship working out are slim, but they can. So I wouldn't wait around, thinking, well, I'll wait for that relationship to run its course, then they'll come running back to me, because that may not happen. That relationship might not work out, but then the person just goes and gets another relationship. Doesn't really mean they're going to come back to you. This is really a time when you really need to try to grieve the loss, okay? You're going to have to feel the pain. Try to stay off alcohol and drugs and distractions. I know we are wired to avoid pain, but by feeling it and letting it wash over you, letting it come and go like it does, this is your body and your mind processing what's happened, and that is healing the wound. And then in the longer term, that's going to be better for you. Hopefully, it might not take longer than 6 months. In some ways it could take longer. Sometimes it could take shorter, depending on, how hurt you are, how much trauma you've experienced in the breakup. Especially most breakups, I don't think are instant. There's usually a back and forth period in the breakup, as it goes into this up and down, back and forth. Are we on? Are we off? And this can cause quite a bit of trauma until the other person finally moves on or breaks away, or you cut contact and go into no contact. So it depends on how hurt you are and how much trauma you've experienced in the breakup. So again, it's a really important time to reflect on things. Don't worry about distracting yourself too much. Let the pain come and go. Cry it out if you need to. Try to keep your day-to-day things going. Your job. Try to sleep the best you can. Try to eat healthily. Look after your body, because your body is going to need fuel to get through this. Heartbreak is just a terrible thing, and it affects your whole system, your nervous system, your adrenal system, your psychology. It affects everything. So your body, the more good things you can put into your body, that will help. And yeah, as far as when is it good to start dating again? Well, firstly, if you don't feel like you're cheating, then that's good. I would say if you've been feeling quite okay and you're starting to, reconnect with friends, going out and doing things for, say, 2 to 3 months, then I would then probably start dating again. So look, I hope this video helps. Once again, you know, going straight into another relationship, I feel, is just a distraction from the pain. And there's no real hurry. Give yourself a good 6 months to focus on yourself, get your life back on track, bring things back to you, become your person, and then hopefully you will attract someone who recognizes that in you and appreciates that in you. A lot of people say, well, that my ex-partner was the one, they were the one. Well, if they've left you, then obviously they're not the one, because the one, I don't really believe in the one. I think, there's many, many people that we can bond with on the planet and have a romantic relationship with. Personally, I've been in quite a lot of relationships, and I've been in love, several times, deeply in love with those people. So it's hard to sort of say the one, but the right person won't leave you. They will cherish you for who you are and appreciate you for who you are. And they hopefully will also have the strength to retain who they are in the relationship. I've never really been on the dating scene, if you like. Most of my relationships have just happened organically. I've met someone when I've been out doing my thing, and that's how it's happened. But I do know in today's world that dating, online dating and all of that sort of thing is quite a big thing. But I would say, especially if you're on my channel, because my channel is sort of designed for people that are quite hurt and quite upset about their breakups. And if you are on my channel, I would definitely say just give yourself time. In the immediate term, we are trying to fill that void from having that person there as a background object that we've had all this time. It's nice to have someone there when you're over there, you're thinking about them, or if you're doing something, that person's there in the background, and you've had that there for all this time, and now they're not there. It's definitely a void, but the best thing to do is to heal that wound, give yourself some time to grieve the loss, get some inner strength, do some, reading on attachment theory, attraction, relationships, do some learning, give yourself a few months, and then get back out there. Don't worry if the other person's gone into another relationship, because, like I say, that relationship is new, shiny, but it will definitely run its course like all relationships do. It might last, 6 months, it might last 2 years, it might last forever. So don't focus on that. Try to focus on you and look after yourself, okay? If you like this video, please put a like on down below there. If you don't like it, put a dislike on it. Consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps to get this content out to people that are hurting. There's probably a few people that have just broken up with their partner today. So unless you're one of those people, you're already ahead of those people, sadly. And I would say there'll be people breaking up tomorrow. It happens every day, unfortunately. So in the meantime, I'll be back with another video soon. But in the meantime, take care of yourself, look after yourself, your health, and your heart.
I was losing myself.